Brian, you're protecting a long unbeaten run in the championship. You're not quite used to meeting Galway this early though.
Yeah, that's true. It's a different one from that point of view. Galway's first time in Leinster, but at the same time it's Leinster semi-final, and that's our usual match that we start off with. And whereas normally it would be Wexford, Offaly, Leitrim, Dublin, now it's Galway this year, so it's a big challenge and one we're looking forward to, obviously.
You are without a number of key players, but you're obviously confident that those selected will step up to the challenge.
Well, I mean, that's what the panel is for, and it's being tested certainly today. We're certainly missing very, very important players who have shown that they're well up to the mark and that, but obviously we're going to find out an awful lot about our panel today because, we're playing a top team and we're going to be really up against it.
John, it's the first time you'll meet Kilkenny in the Leinster Championship. Hurling challenges don't come much bigger.
No, it's a daunting task that's ahead of us this evening in Tullamore, but this is where we want to be, testing ourselves against by far and away the best team in the country over the past 3 years.
And Galway were the last team to beat Kilkenny in the Championship. Do you draw some confidence from that?
Naturally, and Galway also defeated Kilkenny in the 2001 All-Ireland semi-final. So Galway have inflicted more championship defeats on Kilkenny than any other, we'll say, traditional power. So, things like that obviously have to work in your favour. But look at when the players go out inside the four white lines this evening, they have to reflect their preparations. We believe we have them right physically and mentally. And I'm expecting a very committed performance from Galway tonight. And I expect them to be very competitive as well.
Great, thanks very much.
Better chance. No Noel Hickey, no Brian Hogan, no Cha Fitzpatrick, no Derek Ling. It's really testing the Kilkenny team, so they're going to be fired up for it. And Kilkenny are delighted to welcome Galway to Leinster, I'm sure, as well tonight. Are looking forward to welcome them. So looking forward to a great game.
So Joe Canning from Port Omna ready to take this first free, some 30 metres out, and that's gone straight over the bar. So Galway off to a good, promising start. PJ Ryan from the Fenians and Johnstown pucking this one out. Into the breeze, remember, into his half-forward line. Michael Rice there trying to make some headway. Henry Shefflin helping on its way. And that one has dropped over the bar. Good response. Henry Shefflin, first Kilkenny point of the match. Point apiece.
Yeah, great score there. This is a feature of Henry Shefflin's play. He drops away out to the wing all the time, even when he's playing centre forward. And that's a great score into the wind.
Winning those puck outs, I would imagine, where Kilkenny's concerned, are very... Third shot of the target, and this one has gone over the bar. So 2 points to 1. For 11 seasons, winning just one game against Clare in 1961. And they have their own version of a Connacht Championship with Roscommon. That's fired away by Fergal Moore. Back up towards Canning again. Off he goes, really dangerous. What a shot! It's the perfect start. A goal and 2 points for Joe Canning, and not even 5 minutes gone. Terrific score, wonderful skill. He's got marvellous pace, and there was nothing JJ Delaney could do about it. 1-2 to a point. A dream start for the Westerners. From the puck out, kicked forward by De Cross. Niall wearing a red helmet today. We're used to seeing him in black, wearing a black helmet ever since he scored those 3 goals in the 2005 All-Ireland semi-final that rocked Brian Cody's team.
Yeah, Jaron, you can see what Galway half-forward line playing well out the field, and the diagonal ball every time, and great movement inside. Both Healy and Hayes are switching positions, and Joe Canning onto that ball, shortened the hurl, and a brilliant goal. And what a start by Galway.
1-2 so far, all for Joe Canning. Target practice, 1-3. In Tullamore. Henry Shefflin got the first point from play. This from the place ball has gone right over the bar. Got Clare. Little hand pass here, cross towards Henry Shefflin, intended for him, didn't quite reach him. Adrian Cullinan was doing the marking. Back there helping out as well as Cyril Donnellan from Pearce's. Has an obvious pass outside to Andy Smith, uses him. Intelligent play by Galway. Well hooked, brilliantly done that time. That was by Michael Rice. Here's Tommy Welsh, the Tollerone player, forced backwards. Good committed play. Damien Hayes flicking it back towards Owen Lynch once again. Two Portumna men combining all the way down towards Angus Callanan. Very fast player, Callanan, trying to get inside. Dalton trying to block him. Good shot, that's put over the bar. Great point. Angus Callanan moved into the inside forward line as the others moved out and allowed the space in there for him, and he's a good young raider and a fine hurler.
He is, Jaron. The pace that Galway brings to the game is unbelievable. There's only 10 minutes gone. Can they keep it up? That's the question. They're absolutely
forward to left half back to help out, up towards Richie Power. Great catch, taking on his man is Shane Kavanagh, and that's what you have to do, draw the foul, and a relatively easy tap over it should be for Henry Shefflin.
Yeah, brilliant catch here by Richie Power. He's been out injured for the last 6 or 7 weeks, but brilliant catch, and I think they needed that. Owen Larkin back in his own 21-yard line, but just watching the Kilkenny backs at this stage, they don't know who to pick up. The Galway forwards are moving around so much. The only thing you'd hope is that Galway don't overdo it and confuse themselves. I think what Kilkenny are trying to do now is stay in their own positions and pick up the nearest man that comes to them.
The referee is having words with one of the Galway backs. It was Damien Joyce, didn't see a card, probably just issued a warning. So Henry Shefflin again standing over this. Straight over the bar. It's a bit like that day in terms of Delaney was playing left half back, Tommy Walsh playing right half back, the two of them dominating from their own and from the, well, not from their own, but from the opposing puck outs. But it was Martin Comerford who won many of their own puck outs in those days. Still doing it. So a little warning there for Kevin Hines, but no booking. Henry Shefflin standing over it again, taking maximum care, 65 metres out. It's a great finish, great shot. 4 so far for Henry Shefflin. Magnificent shooting, and a goal between them. That goal, after 5 minutes, scored by Joe Canning.
Yeah, the two main men, Canning and Shefflin, certainly not letting us down.
Scored 4 goals and 27 points in just 3 championship matches last year. Won an All-Star. Wants to win more. And that's over the bar. Quite an easy one for him. A goal and 4 out of Galway's tally of a goal and 5. The only other scorer, Angus Callanan from play. I imagine the Galway fans are reasonably happy so far. Didn't quite know what to make of their team in the build-up to all of this. They had a very moderate league campaign. That's Michael Rice, hand passing it back towards Tommy Welsh, yet to really explode in this match, been penned back time and again. Fogarty takes off, and Aidan Fogarty lets fly and puts it between the sticks and over the bar. Good point, first of the day by the Emeralds player. 1-5 to 5 points. Really good fare in O'Connor Park in Tullamore. Colm Callanan pucking it out. This time Jackie Turing with Dickie Murphy's call. Let's watch this once again. Dickie saw it going out. I think Henry was doing his level best to keep it in, boots and all.
Galway get a lot of little breaks like that, I think, from everybody.
Adrian Cullinan, great cut, beautifully taken there by Damien Hayes, and he was fouled. And this time the referee is going to take some action here against Tommy Welsh. Barry Kelly was in straight away, saw the blow delivered to Damien Hayes, and it's going to be a warning, and I think a yellow card, and he's going to have to be careful. This will be the 3rd yellow card issued to a Kilkenny player. Galway are putting it up to them this evening, just as Tipperary put it up to Kilkenny in the league final.
They are, and you know, Kilkenny don't have the same options today. They're already missing 4 first-choice players, don't have as much strength in depth, particularly at the back. And Tommy Walsh, you know, brilliant hurler, but the feature of his game, most games he's letting in a flick here and there and caught Damien Hayes straight across the hand there.
Well, let's hope that Damien Hayes is able to play as efficiently as he has been. It's going to be Joe Canning who will take it. A goal and 4. Kilkenny will have the breeze behind them, remember, for the second 35 minutes. Nicely done. No problems. And it's 1-6 to 5 points. This is what happened here just before that. That was the blow to the hand there of Damien Hayes by Tommy Welch, which resulted in a yellow card, a free and a point to Galway. PJ Ryan's puck out. Bolton's there as well, trying to hook him. They did really well. Really good play by the 2 Kilkenny backs that time. Very disciplined, very committed. Exactly what I'm sure the manager requires. That's perfect. Great hook. Beyond Owen Larkin this time. Damien Hayes collects, delivers back once again. Back to help out is Tommy Welch, having to go in behind Michael Kavanagh that time, and the referee again saw the foul.
I'd say he could be in trouble here.
Could
Gerard.
be.
I think the ref had a good look and saw who it was there. He was coming across and I thought he was going to take the notebook out just after him booked, and that to me was definitely a yellow card offence.
Do you remember those days when yellow cards were handed out and then sometimes they caught us by showing a black card immediately after it?
I remember the day when there was no cards. It suited us a lot better.
And everybody smoked sweet after.
Exactly.
Joe Canning to take this. Kilkenny are definitely rattled, but they still have enormous composure and enormous skill and enormous success behind them to get out of the difficulty they find themselves in at the moment. It's 1-7 to 5 points, but this game could change. He has to be careful.
It's borderline, and I'd say another one. And
well, Tommy Welch has discarded the red helmet anyway. Lovely night for hurling here as that sailed over the head of Owen Lynch. And now it's Martin Comerford, helped out here by Michael Fennelly. Back once again towards Comerford, looking to try and get a bit of space for himself. Comes out towards Henry Shefflin, surrounded by Galway players. 3, 4, 5 of them around him. And still, it's Fennelly trying to go through, kicking it forward here. Stopped on the line somehow, and it's gone in. 1-7 to 1-5. Richie Power in at the end of that move, getting it past Colm Callanan.
it looked like Richie Power, or was it forward here?
Let's have a look at it again here.
It looked like Richie Power just knocked it into the net.
I'm sure they'll be saying, crisis, what crisis? Kilkenny right back into it again, and Larkin was ready to take off, and he sends this one high and confidently knocks it over the bar. First point of the match for last year's Hurler of the Year.
Great hit here, but just he was through for a goal. But on the goal itself, I was just about to comment. Yeah, Richie Power, it looked like a great finish, but I was just about to comment that Kilkenny were trying to run through Galway and it's not working today. Solon into trouble, and a ball out of nowhere, a ball broke in and they end up getting a goal, and this is what they do. They're, with Galway having done
this hurling manager of all time, Michael Kavanagh back there, and he's been ever present during the Cody years. Indeed, he was there the year before. That wasn't a good clearance. Comes out to Kevin Hines. Again, the industrious Michael Rice ready to knock it forward again beyond Richie Power. One to run after. Shane Kavanagh to try and get goal side and get tight of him. Great run. Power looking for more. Isolating Eddie Brennan. Corner of the net. In 2 minutes, they turn it around completely. And Eddie Brennan, the goal king, in the 30th minute, gets his first score in this match and scores his 23rd goal ever in Championship hurling. A pass by Power and a brilliant finish by Fast Eddie. Superb. 2-6 to 1-7.
That's his first puck of the game, and the coolness to finish it there. But that's why Kilkenny are the team. They go for goals. When the goal is on, they go for it.
Back at the other end, it's Cyril Donnellan. And he's dropped it over the bar. Good point by Cyril Donnellan. That's a good response. So 2-6 to 1-8. That was a great catch. All his own work. So confirmation.
They're playing with a strong breeze, but they're not going to get any more goals. And they've done that, and they've taken over there around the half-back line, and that's why they're back in this game now.
Sheffield with 4 points so far. Make that 5. He's done really well from the freeze. And this is what led to all of that. Let's have a look at this again. Was it a throw?
It looked like a hand pass to me.
Yeah. Great catch. Michael Rice again. Up towards Richie Power, his clubmate at Carrick.
I had to say patience is a virtue, isn't it? You know, and kind of after maybe the first 20 minutes, all the movement in the Galway forward line, taking defenders out of their positions and stuff like that, Kilkenny then decided, OK, lads, let's stick to your own position, let them run where they want to run. And you see John Tennyson picking up more ball there, and suddenly then they create goal-scoring chances out of nothing. And like to get to 2 goals were a huge tonic going in for Kilkenny going in at half-time. Galway not out of this, only 2 points down. Sometimes you're playing against the breeze will suit the tactics that Galway employed in the first half. Might be better done in the second half period. So it's not over yet.
One thing we do know, Galway are certainly up for this.
No doubt about it. There's no. I mean, you can't fault them for commitment. You can't fault them the desire or the passion for the game. They've chased Kilkenny around the field, but it's that bit of experience that Kilkenny have over them at the moment.
All right, gentlemen, thanks very much. We'll hear from the other 2 lads in a moment. Time to take a short break.
Canning got his goal, which we'll talk about later. But what it did at the other end, there was a few aimless balls all right hit into the Galway forwards, but at least at the other end there was an awful lot of space, and the Galway backs tackled really, really ferociously. Their half-backs were even back in around their own half-back line, and what resulted was 25 minutes, I think Kilkenny only had 3 or 4 points on the board. But as Kilkenny has been Kilkenny, they reacted tactically themselves and mentioned dropping Tennyson back, dropping their lines back, and you know, it's mind over matter. And
yes,
once they got that little bit of space, even though the first goal was a bit of tenaciousness on their behalf, second goal was all about, you know, space and vision, which Kilkenny have in abundance up in the forwards.
Galway will be annoyed at them, says Paul, that they let Kilkenny in for those goals, but nonetheless they will look at it, I guess, at half time and say, listen, we're playing okay here, we're still in the great chance of this.
Absolutely, like they started very well. They matched Kilkenny in every department. I think they were bypassing midfield mainly, Michael, which kind of gave them, they were getting fast ball into the Kilkenny full forward line, making their half back line turn. As I mentioned, they were tackling as hard as Kilkenny were, but as Kilkenny kind of copped onto it, the Galway clearances weren't finding their targets as easily as they were in the first quarter, and it's kind of given Kilkenny now a platform to get their own attacks, maybe from some of the clearances there by Tennyson, and John Dalton has come into it, and especially in the last 5 or 6 minutes, Michael Rice and Michael Fenley in midfield have come into it.
Yeah. Let's look at that good start that Galway got to Mulcahy. We talked about Joe Canning before the match. That's not a surprise, and the goal came from him.
Yeah, no doubt about that, and we put it on Piero there, I suppose, for the viewers to see it as well. I mean, on the tactics, certainly in the first half, I mean, with Galway moving very much outside the Kilkenny backs and getting in possession. Here we see Joe picking up the ball, and look, this is where I think Galway have the advantage, is running at Kilkenny, and this is where Kilkenny have been vulnerable. And if we see it moving on, right, I mean, he's leaving JJ in his wake. I mean, people will say at 15 stone 7 that Joe Canning is maybe he's not as quick as he should be and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with his pace here and nothing wrong with his finish either, you know. And tactically in the first half, that's what they wanted to do, was to get Kilkenny guys out, and once they got possession in their hand, was to take him on then at that stage.
A bit too reliant on Joe. I mean, he's won 6 out of 1-8. There's only been 2 other scores, and that's again pointing to what we said before the game. And you know, they need other guys to come on to it.
We're going to look at the 2 Kilkenny goals. Declan, I want to talk to you about the first goal as a defender, and Paul will talk to you about the second Kilkenny goal as a forward. The Galway defence here now, Kilkenny took their chance when they got it, but just look at the Galway defence for me here.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the first half, they've been tackling like tigers there, and there was literally no way through. Kilkenny were trying several avenues here, and or you could argue maybe it should have been cleared at some stage. But right here is where, you know, you shouldn't be putting up your hand there in the middle of the square. I think man and all should have been kind of cleared out in the air across out over the line, 65.
Well, that would have been if Ruth was around, man and ball.
I didn't do too much when I was in full back, but that's another story. But you know, that's what has to be doing. A good full back would get that out there.
Paul, this was clever work by Kilkenny.
Great play, like Michael. You can see him taking the ball out, kind of shaping to take a point. Shane Kavanagh kind of falls for it, but this is actually exceptional. A pass away from the goal if you want, and great finish by Eddie Brennan. But in fairness, was Richie Power's genius. Carries it the whole way in, draws the man. Ollie Canning had no choice but go, and the keeper rushes out. But in fairness to Brennan, a low shot. Like a lot of players would have even kicked that over the bar or shot in a hurley, but good pass. And like, I mean, out of nuts, and Kilkenny are leading the game. You know, as Michael said, Galway done 80% of the hurling, and here Kilkenny 2 goals in 2 minutes and they're ahead.
Tomas, we've looked at a couple of individual efforts there, and superb as they were, but you've been kind of looking for us as well at the Kilkenny tactics in this game and how they're shaping up.
Yeah, I mean, particularly in the last 2 or 3 years, right, Kilkenny have this tactic where they drop their corner forwards out to the half-forward position. Here we're circling Damien Joyce, you know, all in his own number 2, right. But Kilkenny are happy to do this, right, and they push their half-forwards out towards midfield. Now you see, okay, they're coming up much quicker on it because Galway obviously given the first ball out, right, but it does put a lot of pressure, right, and they're dropping off the man and they're realistically saying, okay, let you have the ball, let you drive it long, but we've got ourselves covered back in defence because they've all moved back a line, and as Declan said, it's like dropping a line realistically, and it's something maybe goalkeepers, and it puts a goalkeeper under severe pressure because he has the ball in his hand,
yes.
He sees his full back is free, he sees his 2 cornerbacks are free. What am I going to do? Am I going to put it into his hand? And if it does work, it looks very good. But when it doesn't work for you, you're in serious trouble.
Kilkenny are ready down from the break as well.
The difficulty that Kilkenny players were forcing Galway midfielders and half-backs into tight situations where they just couldn't swing their sticks and get the primary possession down to Hayes, Canning and Healy. PJ Ryan is poised. Canning once again went for a goal in the first half. It didn't quite materialise. He's going for it again. He's got it. 2 goals and 6 points for Joe Canning. 39 minutes are gone. What a young player this is. So talented. 1 from play, 1 from a free now. Canning can do little wrong. Well, I suppose if Real Madrid did hurling, they'd be signing him and they'd be sending Kaká and Ronaldo out on gardening duty. But he's here and he's playing in Tullamore right now, and that has certainly lifted the spirits of the Galway fans as Donnellan gets it out once again towards Andy Smith. Smith 65 metres out. Inside on the ground is Joe Canning, and the referee is calling back one of the Kilkenny players. And you can see JJ Delaney there in trouble, finding Joe Canning quite a handful. There was a suggestion before this match that the Kilkenny team might allow John Dalton, number 7 there, to pick up Canning because he'd marked him twice in Fitzgibbon Cup finals or Fitzgibbon Cup matches and done really well against him. But that was Fitzgibbon. This is the senior championship, and JJ's normally your man. He's got a yellow card here.
He is, but Gerard, you'll often see a team playing against the wind. They get, with a small forward like Galway, they're very, very fast. They get a little bit more room, and they're clever there with the ball. A diagonal ball back across the field, and JJ holding his man. But Niall Healy started the second half well also, and Galway looking really fired up.
This should be straight over the bar. Hardly go for another go. 2-7 so far, Joe Canning's tally. And it's now 2-9 to 2-7. And where Galway were behind by 2 at half time, 5 minutes into the second half, they shoot into the lead.
That's an incredible tally against Kilkenny in 40 minutes hurling. 2-7. What a player we have in our hands here. And everything that's been said about him, he just handles it. Missed the 21 in the first half, still had the confidence to go for the goal and bury it again there.
He got 2-12, Michael. You remember against Cork in Thurles last year. Here's Owen Larkin. And that one's gone over the bar. Great point. Henry Shefflin, his 6th.
Yeah, great play there by Owen Larkin, great vision. And Henry is not going to, the King's throne is not going to be given away too easily. 6 points and playing very well, throwing himself around here and working very hard all night.
Colin Callanan's puck out. Dropped there by John Dalton. Taking it up. He got 2-12, Michael. You remember against Cork in Thurles last year. Here's Owen Larkin. And that one's gone over the bar. Great point. Henry Shefflin, his 6th.
Yeah, great play there by Owen Larkin, great vision. And Henry is not going to, the King's throne is not going to be given away too easily. 6 points and playing very well, throwing himself around here and working very hard all night.
Colin Callanan's puck out. Dropped there by John Dalton. Taking it on here is Cyril Donnellan. Still Donnellan, Callan's challenge, good shoulder. And the referee blows the whistle. Did he see it as a fair shoulder? He's going to throw it in. Not quite sure what. It surely was a perfect shoulder. I think it's what happened immediately afterwards.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he ducked in a little bit. He might have hit him into the face guard. He's given the free in. Is he? Not sure what he's doing out there now, but I thought he was coming through and he seemed to duck into the tackle. But he's given a free against Kavanagh.
Michael Kavanagh.
And that's probably maybe the 4th or 5th free against Michael Kavanagh now since the start of the game. And if they're persistent fouling, he doesn't seem to be picked. He's going to be picked up for the yellow card.
Well, maybe the elbow rose a little bit. Anyway, Joe Canning won't worry about that. Once the other players, the referee says, back you come, to two players immediately behind, and that one is inside the left-hand post by just a couple of inches and over the bar. So 2 goals and 8 now for Joe Canning of 2-10. The only other scorers beginning of the second half for Galway. And Damien Hayes released to Niall Healy. Healy misses, and it's in eventually. It's another one for Galway. 3 goals. An amazing spell. 2 goals since the start of the second half. This was Niall Healy, stopped there brilliantly and somehow scooped in by Healy beyond goalkeeper PJ Ryan. Well, he got 3.
He has a great pass, and the improvisation there by Healy was unbelievable. To have the presence of mind to pick up the third and flick the ball into the net for a great goal.
Galway are leading by 5 points. Kilkenny coming back once again. This is Aidan Fogarty. Fogarty's shot is over the bar. His second point. Very good play by the Emeralds man.
He's turned into a really good player. A few lads on him knew where the space was and turned back into it. But Cyril Donlan at centre forward for Galway, I think, is causing havoc there. He's creating an awful lot of space. Very, very physical player, very pacey. And Adrian Cullinan in the half-back line.
An easy point for the taking here. Straight over. The gap closes. 4 between them.
Yeah, Galway just need to keep their composure now here.
Galway question the wisdom of coming into Leinster. Well, tonight they have certainly played well, but they're under pressure right now for Martin Comerford, and Martin Comerford taken down just outside the 13-metre line, and a free in immediately. And the referee again having words with one of the Galway players. Watch this. That was Damien Joyce going across, catching Martin Comerford, and in the end it's Adrian Cullinan who committed the foul. So he could become the first Galway player to see a yellow card.
I'm not sure why that was yet, but they're sticking in. There's only a goal in it.
Well, he's good at sideline cuts, but the angle was impossible there for Joe Canning. Touchdown. Tierney's onto it, trying to get a bit of room to swing the stick. Impossible. Closed down immediately, and again Michael Rice. He's been everywhere for Kilkenny, one of the unsung heroes. Back it comes here towards Henry Shefflin. We know all about him. Nobody near him. Chance to deliver this. In fact, he's got to go for the score himself. Absolutely audacious. Somehow he's got it. 9 points out of that tally of 2 goals and 12 for Henry Shefflin. But look at the space. Nobody anywhere near him. Target practice. 2 between them again. Some game. Some player.
That's great leadership by Shefflin. Richie Power was loose inside, but he went for it. Here's Owen Larkin on the attack again.
Owen Larkin swings it in here as far as Fogarty. He can make it a 1-point match here, and he has. 3 points for Aidan Fogarty.
And he's become a real leader in that Kilkenny team as well, Jerry. What a player. He looks a little bit unorthodox, but he really provides leadership, and on the big day he's one of their best players. And Owen Larkin's passed him. That's 3 or 4 points that Larkin has created there with unbelievable quick hands. He's changing hands and moving the ball all the time.
The big question now is has the tide swung back in Kilkenny? Colm Callinan ready to take this, playing today in his 6th championship match. Huge one against the breeze. Up towards Angus Callinan, who switched across. Won back once again by Kilkenny, and out by John Tennyson. Down towards Eddie Brennan's corner. Having a great battle there with Ollie Canning, and Canning out once more. Helped this time by Fergal Moore, trying to get the ball away. But Derek Ling's back into it quickly. Slips it there as far as Owen Larkin, and Larkin has a go, and Larkin puts it over the bar. Great point. The teams are level. Larkin's second point.
Yeah, Kilkenny do this better than anybody. Slip that hand pass, and Owen Larkin, who's having a great second half. But Michael Rice, I'd have to
now make his presence felt. Will he make the big difference? Eddie Brennan, the one who is taken off. Big call that. Maybe Brian Cody just felt Eddie Brennan could get himself into trouble, and Kilkenny would have been down to 14. PJ Ryan, 15 against 15. Level on the scoreboard, 2-14 to 3-11. Marvellous match. Power rises up for it there, but it breaks down. Comes out towards Owen Larkin once again, trying to motor forward, going back to go forward, as it were. And that is the lead for Kilkenny.
That should have been a free out. Jerry caught the ball 3 times, and he got away with it in a brilliant score. It could be a crucial one yet.
Might just see it again and see what you've been talking about here, the 3 catches. 1. Well, we didn't quite see it, not in that sequence.
He tapped it back into his hand on the blind side of the ref and got away with it.
Cyril Donlan. So 1 between them. Kilkenny marginally in front. 2:15 to 3:11. 8 minutes are left. Not a good puck out. Comes straight back once again, and Derek Ling puts it over the bar.
I can't understand that, Jared. At this stage of the game, a short puck out. They're doing very well in the puck outs up in the half forward line all during the game. And I think that's the...
Well, shades of the quarter-final maybe 2 years ago in Croke Park, when Kilkenny just cut loose and ran riot. And there to Sean Cummins. Forward there for TJ Reid. TJ just introduced moments ago. John Tennyson now trying to get away from a couple of Galway players. Slip forward there well to Henry Shefflin. Stopped. And then one back again by a very lively Owen Larkin. He's got 3 so far. Make it 4. Brilliant. Sensational finishing by Owen Larkin and by Kilkenny once again. You never have a Kilkenny team beaten. And it's 2:17 to 3:11.
Yeah, what a second half Owen Larkin has had. He scored 4 points. He must have created another 4 or 5 with brilliant hand passes, and he's been all over the place.
And Adrian Cullinan is finding him quite a handful. That time the referee is in very, very quickly.
Richie Murray was a mile away from the ball there under the puck out, and it's at least a yellow card, Joe.
We'll wait to see just what the referee does to Richie Murray, who's a second half sub. It's a red card.
I'm not surprised, Jerry. It was a long way away from the ball.
As if life wasn't hard enough for Galway at this stage, having surrendered the lead. They now lose a player as well, and that was a very wild pull. And as you say, it deserves a red card.
Yeah, caught straight away. He was in trouble. Miles away from the ball. A ridiculous thing to do.
Henry Shefflin picking out TJ Reid. TJ, who's now a hurley maker in Kilkenny, lets fly and puts it over the bar. Remember his cameo role in the All-Ireland final against Waterford last September? Came on and got 5 points. Not bad to come on here. The league final. Are the other teams, do you think, getting closer to Kilkenny?
Well, they're obviously getting a bit closer, but you have to factor in Noel Hickey and Brian Hogan and Cha Fitzpatrick and Derek Ling missing as well. You know, everyone says they can put out 2 teams, they can't, but they're showing that they have a very, very strong squad. Maybe not as strong in the backs as they are in the forwards, and they can't afford to be missing the likes of Hickey and Brian Hogan.
Here's Derek Ling. Back once again to Larkin, man of the second half. And he underlines that with a 5th point. Some performance. Seems like he's been around forever, Owen Larkin. But he's only 24 years of age, member of the Defence Forces. Tonight playing his 19th championship match. It looks to be a winner. 5 between them. Colm Callanan points deficit. It'll be Kilkenny who'll go through to the Leinster final once again. Hot favourites, no question about that. It was a very, very good night's hurling in Tullamore. Really enjoyable fair. Full credit to both teams. Brian Cody's team got a right good challenge. The youngsters are out to congratulate him. John Tennyson, one of the stars at the back for Kilkenny, who will thank Henry Shefflin for his 10 points, and of course Joe Canning with a magnificent 2 goals and 9. But like last year in Thurles, it wasn't good enough. That's Derek Ling, who came in to play a part. I'm sure he'll be much fresher and fitter by the time they get to the Leinster final. Overall, Michael, sum it up for us.
Yeah, I think a very, very good game. Brilliant for the Leinster Championship to have a game like that. Huge crowd here in Tullamore. And I think in years to come, people will be talking about Ring and Mackey years ago. I think you'll talk about Joe Canning and Shefflin on the field. 2-9 from one, 10 points for the other. But great individual displays. Kilkenny march on to another Leinster final, and Galway will be delighted, I think, to have really put it up to them. And they can look forward with optimism to the rest of the championship. So well done to Kilkenny, and welcome to Leinster to Galway.
Yes, as expected, this has certainly lifted the hurling championship. It's exactly what the game has required. A little bit of excitement brought into our lives, and good to see Derek Ling back in the championship team once again. But it's the disappointment which I'm sure Owen Lynch and his colleagues in Galway are going to feel after this. They will have learned a great deal. Richie Power got the first goal, we reckon, just got there ahead of Aidan Fogarty. At the end, Kilkenny the victors by 2 goals and 20 to Galway's 3 goals and 13. Michael.
Ger Canning, Michael Dignan, your commentators, back here in the studio. We've certainly enjoyed that match. Tomás Mackay, Paul Flynn and Declan Ruth here with me in the studio. Declan, if Wexford to win the Leinster Championship, you've got to beat Dublin and Kilkenny.
Well, we start with tomorrow first. That's going to be an enormous task as it is. But it was a fantastic game of hurling, and whoever said Leinster hurling was dead, I don't know what they were talking about.
yeah.
But it was a superb game, in fairness. Galway really put it up to them. You know, they got a tonic of a start to the second half. And it's just both Kilkenny are just so clinical. I mean, the scores they got in the second half, just point after point, no panic, even though they were 5 points down, you know, swung back to 5 points down the second half. They just kept popping over points for sport. Owen Larkin particularly, he was 5 points, I think, from playing the second half. You know, but Galway can take an awful lot of positives from this game. If they can just adjust a few, their forward play particularly, still a bit too reliant on Joe Canning. And if they can, you know, spread the workload, I think they have an awful big bearing on the championship.
I'm sure, Paul Flynn, that Laois people would like me to point out that Galway were welcomed to the Leinster Championship by Laois in the previous round here, but I know what Michael Dignan meant. There was a lot of positives, I think, to take out of this match. I mean, Kilkenny, obviously, the All-Ireland champions, are back into a Leinster final again, and Galway, as Declan said, will feel, look, you know, we have a right shout in this championship. We build on this.
They played well, and as we said at half time, they matched them in every aspect of it, and then came out at the start of the second half and kind of took it to them again and got their 5 point lead. But when they got their lead, they kind of stopped doing the things that got them the lead, where the couple of quick goals just after half time, it all came from good deliveries out the field. And as Michael said, they got it in fast, and then they kind of started to mess around a bit, fumbled the odd ball in midfield, and Kilkenny ran on them like a shot. And Kilkenny wore them down there in the last 20 minutes. Galway, we said, after 44 minutes, Niall Healy got a great score. Only one more point after that from Joe Canning free. So they'll have to kind of, as we said at the start of the match, in the league they didn't kind of push on and kill off teams. They should have beaten Tipperary and Salt Hill in the league, and that was very evident tonight as well, where they didn't finish strong. But they, you know, it was a great performance if they're happy with just pushing Kilkenny to 4 points.
Let's find out if Brian Cody is happy. He's talking to us now.
Happy with that performance? You pulled away in the end, but you were in quite a battle.
That was a powerful game there at all times. You know, they put serious pressure on us right through the game. Started the game early on, they got a goal early, and you know, we were fighting and against the strong wind, but we went in at half time 2 points ahead, I think. And again, the second half started off strongly for them. They got a goal from the free, and you know, they were powerful all through the field. But you know, it's a massive test of ourselves. I said before the game, to be a serious test of our panel, and that's exactly what it was, a serious test of our panel. But you know, we stood up to it, and we kept at it and kept at it. And I think it was just a terrific game of hurling, and we're delighted to have won it.
Yeah, Galway certainly livening up Leinster. Are you happy to have them?
Yeah, I mean, at all times we made no bones about it. We have no problem with Galway coming into Leinster. Having said all that, I mean, we have massive respect for the teams that are in Leinster all the time, you know. But you know, certainly it has been a massive start to the massive Leinster semi-final, and you know, now we go to the Leinster final and Galway through to the qualifiers, and you know, we'd much prefer to be where we are, obviously.
And is this the kind of test you like?
Ash was great. I mean, that's the kind of game that people come to see. You know, it's a powerful game, terrific scores, terrific defending, great physicality right through the field. You know, a real genuine game of hurling, I thought.
And there were spells where you didn't play so well, perhaps missing some of your regulars, but still you did manage to battle back and come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have spells like that where you know you're hanging on for dear life sometimes, and it's how you hang on for dear life is what decides the game really. If you're serious, then if you're genuine, if you're honest, if you keep there and stay there and hanging, you're going to get stages of the game where you're going to dominate as well, and that's the way it went. And we dominated, I suppose, at important stages of the game, start to the first or the finish of the first half and the finish at the last, I suppose, 10-15 minutes of the game. I mean, Galway went 5 points clear there, middle of the second half, but the response was outstanding. It was really outstanding. Some of the point scoring was outstanding, I felt, you know.
Okay, Brian, thank you. Congratulations.
Happy Brian Cody there, the Kilkenny manager. By the way, do stay with us here on the programme because we still have highlights coming up of Waterford and Limerick in that Munster Hurling Championship, a replay from earlier this evening. Tomás Mulcahy, normally in games like this, Leinster semi-finals, we're admiring Kilkenny's scoring ability. Tonight, though, you have to admire their composure and the way they dug deep for that result.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Michael. And certainly, I mean, like Brian Cody himself there, I mean, there was no mercy, right? I mean, Michael Kavanagh was under pressure, took him off. Brad and Sean Cummins had an excellent last 20 minutes for them. Probably tactically, Galway putting a two-man inside line in the second half after we went 5 points up. They hit an awful lot of ball in there, which they brought the Kilkenny defence back into the game because they cleared ball one after the other down the field, which means put an awful lot of pressure back on their own defence and the Galway defence. But like big boys stand up in big matches, you know, and no better than Owen Larkin in that second half period. And like, I mean, it's a great advert for hurling. I think the Leinster Council must get a round of applause on this basis as well of putting that match into Tullamore. I mean, we're sitting in the studio here. You could actually feel the crowd in around you, and like 15,000 in Croke Park would have been lost today, and it brings a bit of passion to the game that we need in Championship, and holding those matches down in Leinster, it's important, and we got a great game. Galway themselves will okay, Paul said they'll be disappointed with the loss, but they've an awful lot to learn and an awful lot to take going forward as well, you know. They've an awful lot to take out of this game. There's an awful lot of positives going forward for them, and I mean, they will be happy on that side of it, even though they lost the game.
Just to explain to people, Paul, Galway now go into the qualifiers, into phase 2 of the qualifiers, so they're a step on, I suppose, from those first round matches from the beaten player teams in it. And as we said a moment ago, you know, if they can build on that, they will be looking at maybe another crack at Kilkenny later on in the year. Yeah,
like I mean, obviously the first round of the qualifiers, the draws on tomorrow evening, like there'll be one or two kind of maybe lopsided games. You'd expect certainly Cork to come through, but Galway then, you know, will have its tough test in the next game. Like the benefit of obviously getting through to the quarterfinals to stay out to the qualifiers, but the real test for Galway is like, will they drive on? Will they kind of improve? Like, I mean, they had Kilkenny on the rack with kind of 20 minutes to go, but as we said, they didn't kind of drive on. But Kilkenny, in fairness, the experience, the composure they showed, but Galway did kind of help Kilkenny in a way where they kind of changed their game plan and didn't move the ball in fast enough.
We heard the views of Brian Cody, the Kilkenny manager. Let's hear from John McIntyre, who's the Galway manager.
John, you didn't manage to topple the champions, but you certainly put it up to them.
Well, I think we gave them a serious rattling, and I suppose when the game was in the melting pot in the last 20 minutes, maybe we lost a little bit of composure, and you could see Kilkenny's experience during that period. Everything that seemed to be firing at the post went over the bar, where maybe we were guilty of poor decision making from time to time. But having said that, I was very proud of the Galway players this evening. It was a very noble effort, and I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with them now as we drive on for the qualifiers. That's the closest any team has got to Kilkenny in the past 2 years, maybe 3 years, and you know, 2 sucker punch goals in the first half, maybe against the run of play, rocked us back in our heels. And, you know, we were in a mini crisis at half time, having done a lot of things right and still 2 points behind. But we came out in the second half, tore into it, went back 5 points up. It looked good for us. But like, they're not champions for nothing, and you've got to, while I'm disappointed to have lost, there's no point being in this business unless you're disappointed, and I'm disappointed for the players. You've got to pay tribute to Kilkenny as well, that, you know, they were on the ropes there for periods of that game and still had the composure and the technique and the ability to pull the game out of the fire. But what I liked about our fellas at the finish, even when we were reduced to 14 men, you know, maybe we got 2 of the last 4 points, 2 of the last 3 points. We didn't cave in, we didn't hemorrhage or anything like that. We made mistakes, we'll learn from it, and I think we've something to build on for the qualifiers.
Yeah, as you say, being in this kind of test, this kind of battle, it can only help Galway.
I hope so, and you know, the players are naturally crestfallen in there. I think we had a chance today, and at least we had worked hard to give ourselves that chance. A lot of teams get no chances against Kilkenny, and that's something to build on, to take forward with us. And we have to get ready now for the first round of the qualifiers, or the second round as it will be in our case. And all those teams now will be fighting for their lives, as will Galway. And we've just got to learn from today, and I think the game will bring us on a ton.
Okay, John McIntyre, thank you.
No problem.
9 magnificent points in this game. They've had a serious challenge to their crown in Leinster here in Tullamore, but they've met that challenge and met it very positively, and that's 10 for Henry Shefflin. A very good night's work.
Great night work for Henry and for Joe Canning. And Ger, a quick mention to the Ballinamere Duro, my own little club out the road here, in the Division 6 final tomorrow against Woodford Gales from Cavan, of all places, who are staying with us out there, and it's great to have the two of them in the final here tomorrow.
It's fantastic to have all the Fela teams here. Hope they're enjoying themselves. If they're watching this, they'll have enjoyed it. Damien Hayes slipping, but still managed to get it over the bar. Only his first point of the match. So 4 between them. Galway will